sometimes in new PSAT writing questions, we're not adding whole sentences, but we're adding new information or additional details to a sentence to make some sort of point. Now, the key is you have to focus on the question. The question's going to tell you what they want from the choice that you're picking, what they want to be emphasized, or what the focus of the new information should be. So really make sure you pay attention to the sentence, to the question, because that contains the key clue. Let's look at number 7. Which choice provides a supporting example that reinforces the main point of the sentence? So what's the key phrase here? It's reinforces the main point of the sentence. That is what we want our sentence to do, our addition, our change to do. So let's see. Employee naps might also lead to reduced healthcare costs for companies, since regular napping leads to long-term health benefits, and it improves workers' average weekly attendance. So we look at the original, choice A, and it talks about weekly attendance, and that's nice, I guess. But notice the point of the sentence is to talk about healthcare costs and health benefits. Weekly attendance isn't directly related to those things. Maybe tangentially, but not directly. So we can hope to find a better choice. How about B? Including a lower risk of cardiovascular problems such as heart attack and stroke. Notice this is consistent with the health benefits, and it builds off of the previous part, which discusses these long-term health benefits. So this does reinforce the main point of the sentence pretty well. How about C? Which are essential in an era of rising healthcare costs. So notice, yes, they do mention healthcare costs, but a couple things. Number one, this which is referring back to the health benefits or the long-term health benefits. So it's saying that these long-term health benefits are essential in an era of rising healthcare costs, which I suppose makes a kind of sense. But overall, this piece is just not really reinforcing the main point of the sentence, as well as B is, to focus on the specific health benefits and how this might eventually lead to lower healthcare costs. So even though C mentions healthcare costs, it's not as specific as something like choice B. So far we prefer B. How about D? In addition to making employees more efficient. Well, efficiency, again, like A, maybe that's a result of improved health, but that's more tangential, it's more indirect. We're looking for something that builds directly on the main point, and the best choice that does that is B. Let's try 28. Which choice provides the most specific information on the type of advice a lunar calendar can offer? So notice, specific part, type of advice a lunar calendar offers. So let's go to the question. Let's go to this paragraph first and see what choice might work best. Chinese and Egyptian people performed agricultural tasks according to the lunar calendar for millennia, and to this day, the vaunted Old Farmer's Almanac includes regional lunar calendars and advice on when to conduct farm chores. Okay, looking at this, is this a good type of advice? The most specific information? That's another key about what type of advice the lunar calendar offers. When to conduct farm chores? I mean, that's not terrible. We'll keep it for now. On advice on actions relevant to farming. So at least this, I suppose, gives a kind of advice, but is it specific? No, it's very general. Like actions relevant to farming. That's so broad. We need something more specific. Points in time at which to undertake certain tasks. That's even worse than B because it's still very, very general. We're looking for something focused and specific. Optimal times to plant, weed, prune, and harvest. Aha. So if we compare this to A, with A, they mention farm chores, but in D, they tell us which farm chores specifically, right? When are the times, the best times to plant, weed, prune, and harvest? So if we're going to choose between A and D, we want the one that provides the most specific information on the type of advice, and this would give you advice on the times to do all these actions. So we're going to go with D over A. 33. Which choice gives an additional supporting example that emphasizes the importance of the senses in judging the success of the lunar farming method? So key phrase here you might expect is the senses. Right? We want a choice that emphasizes the importance of the senses in judging the success. So let's go to the question. Agricultural professor Jennifer Kaufman has a similar response to Ferrua's bounty in Italy. Smell this rosemary, she says. Smell how amazingly fragrant that is. At this stage, one could say that the evidence must be experienced to be believed. So we look at the original and notice we want something about the senses, And this is talking about the senses and about how great the rosemary that's been grown, how great it smells. And presumably, if at this point we would have read the whole passage, we would have seen that this is kind of a function of these lunar methods. So actually, the original looks pretty good. It's pretty specific, and it talks about the senses, which is the key. It talks about the sense of smell. So that looks pretty good. Let's look at the rest, though. She has taken photographs of the grapevines and landscape. Well, I mean, again, in an indirect way, I suppose the sense of sight is involved in photographs, but that's super indirect, and it's not as good as A in terms of emphasizing the senses and the success of this program. She takes careful notes about Furua's farming methods, asking Furua to clarify how he prepares the soil. It says nothing about senses. She dips bread into Furua's olive oil as he explains the soil preparation he does in the fall. So just because she's dipping bread and presumably tasting the olive oil, it doesn't emphasize the senses as well as A does, the original. So we're actually going to stick with the original, choice A. To learn more about Reason Prep's SAT, SAT subject test, and ACT video courses, go to reasonprep.com/enroll, and you can find the link in the description below the video.